Hey, what's up?
Yo, yo, yo.
How's it going?
It's going great. How are you doing?
Going well, going well. Ready to lead some meditations.
Cool. Let me set up. We have this thing where we can live stream events onto our homepage.
Oh,
So I'm
cool.
gonna set that up
Amazing.
real quick. I think it should go automatically, hopefully, but I may need to.
I mean, even if we start like a couple minutes late, it's good
Yeah,
because
I'm sure
people
um,
straggle in. Even digitally, people run late.
they do,
It's
which
amazing.
it does amaze me.
You're like, you didn't get the train wasn't slow. Like,
Yeah,
why are you 10 minutes late? It's like not
exactly.
like the L train was being annoying.
Well, what I kind of hate about like the omnipresence of digital life is like the omnipresence of the clock.
Oh, you all know exactly. Yeah.
Like we know what time it is to the second
Yeah.
all the time.
Because we all have like the same. We're all looking at the same clock.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Okay, hang on. So this, I think I need to go online on Twitch.
I was thinking I was like I could just set up my phone and like do it live on Instagram or something, but
Yeah, hell
that's
yeah.
been,
Go
that's
ahead.
been too hard. I don't know. Because then I would see like people
Yeah, that's
like
true.
saying stuff. It'd be distracting.
Let me hang on one second. It's going to just take me a sec to figure
Take
out
your
how to
time.
go
Take
live.
your time. No, no rush. No rush.
Okay, for now I'm just going to hold off on setting that. So I'm going to click save. Now able to stream to Twitch. So now I can see my testing Twitch meeting. I'm going to start it early. So I click in my see here live. So over here on Twitch, we're not live currently, and now we are. Hello, hello.
So we should be live on Twitch.
Um,
Let's see if we are.
You watch a tutorial on how to do this.
Yeah, Q
so
made it for me.
in order to, I'm going to mute this because it's going to. Okay, so in order now to make this show up on the index website, we have to click one more button. So over here on Shopify, we can actually control whether or not the Twitch stream is showing by clicking on.
Hmm, not totally sure why it wouldn't be going. We are definitely in the Zoom link. All right. Well, I'm going to start letting people in and then I'll figure it out once we get going.
Okay,
Um,
when do you think I should just start like talking?
Actually, how about let's let people sit in the waiting room for another couple of minutes because we only have six people here yet, and then
Yeah.
I'll admit them all at once.
Yeah, how
Um,
about like 6:05 or
yeah,
6:08 or something? We'll just
perfect.
and then I'll start talking.
Yeah.
Are you gonna mute people's audios?
Yeah, they're muted as they come in.
Okay, cool. But their video is up to them.
Yeah. Unless
Okay.
you have specific like requests there, I figured people can just
No,
kind of
I
play it
think
by
it's
ear.
kind of. I'd be curious to see if people like want to be seen while they meditate. It would just
Yeah,
cool.
totally.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, great. Index online channel. Here we go.
In the access, we'll have Ellie and Al. Now for our meeting that's up and I'm going to click, and then I'm going to simply grab these things in this green little. I just have to copy them. For now, I'm just. So what this means is that this meeting is now able to stream to Twitch. So now I can see my testing Twitch meeting. I'm going to start it early. So I click start. So streaming server is it's essentially setting the stream live. So if I click that, see here, there's this live on custom live streaming service. So if I click that, what is Twitch? So now I can see my testing Twitch meeting. I'm going to start it early. So I click start, and here I am in my meeting. So if I go to more.
Oh, okay. I see. Cool, cool, cool. Yay, we should be live now.
Cool.
All right, we don't have that many people here yet, but I'm just going to admit them so they know that something's happening. Okay.
Cool. We can just say we're waiting on a couple more.
Yeah.
And too bad that I cannot send you this because my, you know what?
Hi guys.
Hi.
We're just gonna wait on a couple more people to show.
Let's see if we're on the website now. We are.
Cool. So there's like I want to check that out.
Yeah, it's index-space.org. And you can see us
wow. I see
awkwardly talking.
Ellie right there. Oh, now I see a big me. Oh my God. Holy shit. That is some full screen action.
Yep, we are up.
Oh my God. I just got a haircut. I gotta fix that up. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so what it is it's Zoom to Twitch and then Twitch to like an embed on the website.
But I love that it's like the splash of your site, you know. It's great.
Yeah, the idea is that it's sort of a public square.
Yeah.
So anybody who wants to can be here.
Okay. Well, take a picture and be like, guys, come, we're here.
Yeah.
I'll do me taking a picture of okay, there we go. We're live. We're live. Okay, I guess we'll start in a couple of minutes, depending on while I live. Okay. That's funny. Okay.
Well, we can also, if you want to get started, we can also let people in. I'll just keep an eye on the waiting room. So while you're
okay, so there are people in the waiting room right now, or
there are not. No, everyone
is
here now. Is here now.
Okay, I'm gonna turn off the index website so that I don't just see myself.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
But listen, I didn't ask you for a bio or anything, but I know a little bit about you. So for those who are here, I can give you a little bit of an introduction, and maybe if I mess anything up, you can correct me. Anyway, Gideon is a writer and an artist, and he is also a practicing meditator, or a person who practices meditation, but is somewhat, as we discussed, maybe a little bit turned off by kind of traditional meditation aesthetics. And so he's been exploring immersive fiction as a method of creating guided meditation experiences. And guided meditation is something that at Index we have wanted to bring into our programming for a while, because I think we are spending so much time on the screen as a tool for social and professional engagement, like very, very much all the time now, this year especially. So with the intention of kind of bringing some more peace and slowness and intentionality to the digital space in our community setting. So I feel super lucky that we could have Gideon come and read and kind of take us on a journey through his immersive fiction experiences. So thank you so much, Gideon.
Thanks for having me, Ellie, and Index. Index is this really cool thing, and I really hope that all of you who are listening explore their programming and all that they do. And yeah, thank you, Ellie, for organizing this and getting this event together. Yeah, so Ellie gave a little bit of my background, but I'll go a little further for fun. So yeah, I'm a writer and artist, and I'm based in Ridgewood, Queens, and I mostly write for magazines on a vaguely arts and culture beat. But I've sort of slowed that stuff down recently to work on a collection of short fiction that'll hopefully be ready soon, is really what I'm hoping for. But more relevant to this convo, and the subject of the evening is for the last while I've been very interested in meditation. Now this interest started when I was in my early 20s and was just like a deeply confused, depressed young man finding conscious existence to be a very painful endeavor and disorienting endeavor. And out of that disorientation and desperation, I dove into a lot of stuff. But the only thing that I really dove into that kind of stuck around because I found it helpful was meditation. And I guess ever since then, I go on a silent 10-day meditation retreat every winter for the last 6 or so years, and try to keep up a regular everyday practice. And as I think Ellie said this, I want to be super clear that I am not a meditation teacher at all. And I'm not steeped in the tradition or the scripture or I'm certainly just enough from what he's learned to have some thoughts of my own and maybe lead a couple guided meditations here or there. And as Ellie also said, I tend to actually feel quite allergic or turned off by meditation culture in the West, and in the way, especially in the ways it's sort of morphed into a wellness culture and wellness communities. My interest in meditation is really narrow in some ways, in that I am interested in it as an ancient cognitive technology or tool or technique that makes being a conscious person in this material world a little bit more tolerable, and maybe even more enriching or fulfilling. So that's my sort of personal interest in meditation. And beyond the sort of emotional, spiritual benefits of the practice, I've recently become very interested in meditation as a storytelling format, or a storytelling framework, maybe is the better word. There's an unusual power dynamic inherent to a guided meditation. The student, really surrenders in some ways to the teacher, really relinquishes agency for a moment, puts experience in someone else's hands in a way that, as a writer, I find pretty it just feels pretty ripe for good storytelling. As a writer, I want someone who's open to me and vulnerable to me and willing to allow me to shape their experience without too much resistance. So I've spent the last couple of years as a writer writing for magazines, exploring ways meditation can simply be written, a fiction written in kind of the grammatical imperative mood. So I've been writing these fictions that are really kind of like instructions. And we'll do a little bit more of that later. But before I go and like guide us through a couple meditations, I wanted to address something that Ellie and I talked about, which is the fact that this is another Zoom event. And I think, well, one, I appreciate you all doing another Zoom event. I recognize that we're at the point in pandemia where it's like completely lost all of its novelty, and it's probably just this very mundane, very everyday part of a lot of our lives. And although it's possible we could have done this outside maybe, and or like done it inside and made sure everybody was vaccinated. The truth is, I'm kind of glad we're doing it on Zoom, as it presents a lot of the tensions and contradictions, and for lack of a better word, like strangeness that interests me in regard to the subject at hand. And what I mean is that I titled the event Mediated Meditations for a few reasons. One is that I thought it sounded kind of cool, and there's like, just move the T, and you got a little alliteration going on. But I also thought that it was just like a really effective, efficient description of what this event is. It's meditations being mediated, as in meditation being communicated via a screen, via a medium, via technology, via our screens, via the server farm in rural, Ohio, currently beaming my face into your home. But maybe the third reason, and the most important reason, is that I find mediation and meditation to be, in a way, contradictory terms. As mediation implies a kind of indirectness, an arbiter, something in between A and B. It implies, like there's an implication of dualism and distance. While meditation, although it is, of course, so many things to so many people, to me, meditation is characterized by an attempt to decrease or even erase mediation, to decrease or erase the distance between ourselves and reality as it truly is, to come into a more direct contact with reality, to get outside of the dualistic illusion that makes us feel extremely separate from each other, from our fellow man, from ourselves, and from the world. I mean, this is maybe a long way of getting to the point where that I don't think it's a coincidence that meditation is sort of hit a crescendo of popularity at the exact same time that we're like, hitting this crescendo of mediation in our daily lives, where our experiences themselves are had via symbols and languages and screens and images. And all of that consumption in the foreground is happening while there's this background of the incessant chatter of our inner minds. So it's a long, hopefully not too ranty way of saying that I think meditation is popular right now for a good reason, in that we're craving direct contact in a world where the mediation has us feeling a little existentially or ontologically and spiritually afloat, or at sea, maybe is a better way to put it. Okay, so let's begin. I thought we'd begin by doing kind of a more classic meditation. Something that you like, more similar to what you'd encounter in like a yoga studio or a meditation class or whatever. But but so yeah, so let's begin. Let me see like what. Let me look at your screens and see if like we're in a zone where we can do this. Yeah, it looks like some of us are in chairs. That's good. Okay, so let's begin with like a classic version of sort of like a more mindfulness body scan. Um, and we'll begin that by, I'll just ask you to find a pretty comfortable position that I've heard teachers describe it as sort of like a dignified position or like an intentional or an attentive posture, but one that is pretty natural that you can comfortably hold for, say, 10 minutes without feeling too uncomfortable. So I'll give you like 10 seconds to find a seated posture that you feel good about. Okay. So let's begin by closing our eyes. And let's take a few deep breaths, just letting our mind grow a little more still and silent. And why stillness and silence? Well, if you, I like to think of sort of, your mind is like a dirty bucket of water that's murky with thoughts and anxieties and bullshit. And the way you clean a dirty bucket of water isn't by reaching in your hand with your hand and trying to scoop out that stuff. You clean by letting it sit, silent and still. So, and then letting kind of the crap sink to the bottom. So I'm just gonna let you, while you breathe, let your dirty bucket of water that is your mind sit with a little stillness and silence, so that some stuff maybe falls to the bottom and we can see through it a little bit more clearly. Okay, so let's just, with our eyes closed, bring our attention to the top of our head, like the crown of our head. Let's see how it feels for the top of that part of our body to exist. But we're not going to go looking for sensation there. Instead, let's just try to be sensitive enough to feel stuff that this area is always feeling all the time when we're usually too busy paying attention to other stuff. Okay, let's now bring our attention to our face. Let's focus on how our eyes feel and our nose and our mouth. I mean, the sensation can be anything. You can feel like warmth on your lip or some cold on your nose or some tightness in your chin, whatever. Whatever it is, let's just try to relate to it as objectively as possible. If it's warmth on your lip, try to see that it's not warmth on your lip or it's not your warmth. It's just a sensation. It's just warmth. It doesn't belong to you. It's just something happening. Okay, let's bring our attention to our chest. Feeling it rise and fall naturally, maybe against your shirt, you can feel it rise and fall naturally. But it's just doing what it does literally all day and all night, whether we ask it to or not. So just be an observer of this sensation, trying to sit on the sidelines of the game and kind of be a witness instead of a participant to this rising and falling of your chest. And now let's go down to our stomach and notice any sensations that we might feel there. It's possible that it's sensations that you couldn't even label with an adjective if you want to, that it's just the sensation of existing. And let's bring our attention to our legs and know what it feels like for them to exist. You can be really curious, just like, what does it feel like to have legs? Not a question we ask ourselves very often. Now let's go to the feet. Okay, and now, as if we've been using sort of like a spotlight of awareness to scan our body, let's see if we can turn our awareness into like a much wider floodlight and open up our awareness to our whole body at the same time. So we're not going to focus intently on any specific sensation, but we're going to try to have our awareness zoom out as far as it can so that you can witness the contents of your awareness. As if your consciousness were a room, you were now against the back wall with everything possible in front of you. Okay, now let's keep our eyes closed, but slowly kind of start feeling our body again. And let's kind of remember where we were before we closed our eyes, like what the room might look like when we're going to open them back up soon. We can remember that the voice you're hearing is this guy Gideon's. who's talking to you on a screen. We can even remember that it's 6:27 on a Wednesday, and that we took a brief break to do a little meditation. And whenever you guys feel comfortable, open your eyes. Okay. I hope that was nice. Ellie's giving a thumbs up. So I got another thumbs up. Okay, cool. So that's sort of, more, I would say, traditionally speaking, like a meditation. And just me, interpreting ones that I've liked and sort of putting my spin on it. But the other parallel thing that I wanted to do at this event was just read a couple of the more creative interpretations of meditation that have snuck into my writing prop work. And I'll start with one. I'll start with the first one I ever wrote. Basically, I was sent on an assignment with a photographer to a casino in Atlantic City, and the assignment was basically to write an essay about how casinos kind of rob the casino goers of their sense of time on purpose, that they'll just gamble forever. And I kind of, in the Starbucks, in the casino, in the Tropicana, started writing this and in hopes that my editor would be open to something a little bit more outside the box. And turns out he was, which is really great. So I'm going to read this meditation. You can close your eyes or keep your eyes open. It's more of like, a piece of fiction than it is anything. So this is casino meditation, a mindfulness technique that proves the illusory nature of time. 8 minutes. Enter a casino. Take 3 deep breaths, slowly inhaling and exhaling air that is rumored to be more oxygen-rich than usual because the men sitting in offices on floors that are only accessible via a single back elevator are secretly pumping a little extra O2 into the gaming areas in order to keep gamblers awake and gambling. See if, at the conclusion of these 3 deep breaths, you can tell if this rumor has any merit, if you feel a little less lethargy, or a little more pep in your step. If you feel that you have more pep in your step, feel free to step with slightly more pep. Let your eyelids relax and soften your focus so that it feels like the building is a single boundaryless space. The universe is also a single boundaryless space, so they say. And the same law that dictates whether a roll of the dice results in snake eyes also dictates whether one of the 19,363 near-Earth asteroids currently in orbit results in snake eyes of a larger magnitude. Notice that there are no windows. It's never morning, noon, or night here. And that the overhead lighting is bright but perfectly balanced in a way that achieves total neutrality. This neutrality may cause you to, at times, forget whether your eyes are opened or closed. And you may find yourself attempting to open your eyes when they are already opened, or close your eyes when they are already closed. But don't worry, that's normal. Listen closely to the mix of rings and dings and chatter and white noise music that either has no beginning or end, like an aural Mobius strip, or just loops so seamlessly that it's impossible to tell if it has a beginning or end. The muted cacophony is strategically kept at the exact volume that renders it unnoticeable. We are, after all, a species that tends to only register the existence of a thing when it is too much or too little. But if we walk into a room and the thing in question is just right or remains just right, that thing might well have never existed at all. Choose a table by entering the flow of the space, surrendering to the elements of the experiential design that are designed by the best experiential designers designing east of Silicon Valley. The paths for foot traffic might seem illogically circuitous, but that's just because their goal is not, like most paths, to get you from point A to point B. These paths present as many detours back into the gaming area as possible so that you may never actually arrive at point B. When you find yourself floating off the path into a gaming area and eventually land into a well-cushioned seat at a table, know that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. There is no alternate reality where you didn't land at a table or where you landed at another table. You are at this table. Be here now. Hand the dealer every bill in your wallet so that she can change your paper rectangles into plastic circles. Turn to the man on your right. Ask him his name. When he says cash, let it go. Ask him if he comes here often. A question that would be ridiculous if this weren't the name of a place where you can say stock phrases without it sounding like some sort of thing no one actually says. When he tells you that he does come here often, ask him how long he's been on this particular trip. When he says he's not sure, ask him if he's up or down. When he says he's not sure again, point to his chips and tell him that if he puts everything he's got on number 13, you'll do the same. When he says 13 is a terrible number to play, not because it's unlucky, but because everyone who plays 13 thinks they're laughing in the face of superstition, when in truth, they're really just abiding by a different kind of superstition. Just nod your head and slide your chips into place. He'll do the same. As the dealer launches the little ball around the circumference of the spinning wheel, repeat the following mantra in your head as many times as necessary until you begin to experience an internal semantic satiation. Time is money. 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 At some point during this process, it's possible you'll begin to understand, maybe for the first time in your life, that time is in fact money, and money is in fact time. And in a world where there are no clocks on the walls or cell phones allowed at the tables, where vodka and coffee are always equally appropriate, money, an abstract concept that is anchored by time, loses all the magic that helps our species believe that small pieces of paper just might be more valuable than the number of joules of heat they produce if burned. When the centripetal force acting on the little ball shows signs of weakening and the dealer waves her hands to signal no more bets, lean back in your chair, tilt your chin up, and see, much to your surprise, a mural of clouds painted directly onto the ceiling. The clouds aren't moving, of course, but they're painted in a way that gives the illusion of motion. They look bathed in warm light, too, though upon closer inspection, that's another trick of the artist's brush. Then, when you hear the distinct clink of the little ball landing, coming to rest in a numbered slot, keep your eyes up and your head in the clouds and listen for the dealer's monotone announcement of the spin's results. Take a final deep breath. Inhale, exhale, and remember, you're in paradise, where the sun is always setting but never sets. Okay, that was Casino Meditation, something I wrote for Buffalo Zine, a fashion magazine in England a while back. And I'm just going to read one more because I feel like that's enough. And I want dinner, you guys want dinner, and 45 minutes is plenty for a night like this. So I'm going to read Super Bowl Meditation, which was a meditation. So these are all like a little tongue-in-cheek, I'm kind of like poking a little fun at meditation culture, but also exploring the format. So this one is a Super Bowl meditation, and it was written for Office Magazine, and it's titled Super Bowl Meditation, a Zen exercise to get you pumped for the big game. 4 minutes. So, as the players on the field stretch their bodies, essentially preparing for a medium to bad car crash with a few minutes of the newest innovations in foam rolling, we're going to stretch our minds. This cognitive stretching will render your awareness expansive and supple. By kickoff, when the opening whistle finally blows, you'll be more awake to the world, sensitive enough to the literal feeling of 100 million American sphincters tighten with both excitement, this is the biggest game of the year, and disappointment, this is the biggest game of the year. To start, consider the koanic dialogue adapted from the Japanese tradition. The student asks, "What wins championships?" The master responds, "A wide receiver that can fly will never die." The student asks, "Wide receivers win championships?" The master responds, "The special teams unit is appropriately named." The student asks, "The special teams unit is most important?" The master responds, "Coach Paul Bear Bryant said it best." The student asks, "Oh, defense is the key to victory." The master responds, "The locks change every year." The student asks, "So every Super Bowl is different?" The master responds, "The pigskin was never made of pig." Koans are meaningful only in that they are meaningless. They are unsolvable riddles meant to frustrate your inner logician to the point of surrender. So, surrender. Soften your focus, like a running back on a line. Soften your focus, like a running back after a linebacker hits him with enough force to break down the average suburban front door. Release your grip, a quarterback. Loosen your legs like a tight end after a low block renders him momentarily numb from the waist down. Or in other words, relax. Now that we're working with an empty mind and an open heart, close your eyes. Imagine you are a player on the field, maybe a free safety. It's a 4th and goal, because of course it is. There's a minute left in a tie game, because of course there is. Listen to your labored breathing, every inhale and exhale amplified within the confines of your helmet. While the opposing quarterback makes a few adjustments at the line of scrimmage, reflect on the fact that nearly every moment of your entire life was oriented by the remote possibility that this moment might come. And here it is. Welcome. You've arrived. And holy shit, you recognize the offense's formation from the hundreds of hours you've spent in the darkroom watching game tape. You know exactly what they are about to do. The quarterback finishes audling, settles behind the center, and suddenly your vision blurs. And you're no longer just you, the free safety who is about to be the most celebrated athlete of the 24-hour sports cycle. You are also a fan in the nosebleed section who is noticing that the free safety, about the size of an ant from this perspective, is sneaking towards the left side of the field, as if he suspects that's where the ball is about to be thrown. You're not straddling these two perspectives. You have 2 feet firmly planted in both. That is, you are now simultaneously inside the game and outside of it, participant and observer, subject and object. You are man and God. It occurs to you that you might actually be Jesus Christ. But the quarterback just called hike, so you set that possibility aside for now because you have work to do. You turn and sprint toward the back of the end zone. When you get there, you turn around and you look to the sky. There it is. It's exactly where you thought it would be, exactly where it is supposed to be, as if this dumb game makes perfect sense, as if it was written. And that's the end of Super Bowl meditation that I wrote for Office Magazine. I mean, I've written more of these, but I think that's that's a good taste of them. I think I gave you two, one kind of normal, get you in your body scan, and then a couple of my sort of fun interpretations of the format. So I think we'll call it a day with that. How about, what do you think, Ellie? Any thoughts?
I love that.
Cool.
I loved how the body scan, like, I felt like anything you told me to do after that, I would just like go there in my mind.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, the power dynamic is crazy, and unfortunately, sometimes gurus really abuse that dynamic,
Yeah,
and it
interesting.
leads to a lot of ugly things. But I think there's something to surrendering yourself to a trustworthy and teacher. It can be really great, and a trustworthy experience.
Well, thank you for being
Um,
so trustworthy and guiding us through
oh,
those experiences.
of course, anytime. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess if people have questions, they can like email me or something or whatever. Or,
Yeah. Does anyone have a question quickly? I sort of not really the type of thing that often folks might have questions about, but
yeah.
Gideon, uh, do you want to let us know how to reach you if we do?
Yeah, sure. That's a good idea. I think either shoot me a message on Instagram or email. Um,
Gideon Jacobs.
yeah, my Instagram is, yeah. Well, my Instagram is Gideon's Bible spelled phonetically, and my email is gid.jacobs@gmail. So yeah, anyone can reach out anytime. But I appreciate everyone coming to another Zoom event.
Thank you so much
Thank you guys.
for doing this with us.
Yeah, thanks. It's a
It
pleasure.
was really fun. Thanks everyone for coming too.
Bye.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, Emily Caulfield has questions. She doesn't know where to begin.
Awesome. Thanks,
Get in
guys.
touch. Bye.